They are being radicalized online. They are being radicalized by their friends through gaming, YouTube, everything. Is telling your boys to hate women, to see them as property. Their feeds are filled with rhetoric to hate women. You have to talk to your sons.
Fuck women anyways, dude.
And with all that stuff that you just said, that was just womanese talk.
The number of young single men in America is at a record high.
Guys win again. And yes, we control your bodies.
4B movement.
The 4B movement.
The 4B movement.
No marrying men, no giving birth, no dating men.
It's your body, my choice.
People in the world trying to give young men a false impression that they can have a reasonable facsimile of life on a screen and with an algorithm. They don't have the confidence to approach strangers for mentorship, for friendship. They're not getting jobs. If we want better men, we need to be better men.
Hello, I'm Salem, and welcome to my commentary channel, where we take serious topics and dissect them in a not-so-serious way. Today's topic, the Manosphere, and how it be brainwashing young, impressionable, insecure boys.
You're lucky you're even talking to me, because I'm a high-value male. Yeah, I am. Okay, females don't deserve rights, it's my opinion. Does anyone in here watch entertain? This is why men's mental health is...
Why does my big water bottle look like a medieval lantern? Hear ye looking at. Hello everybody, it is me, Salem, and welcome back to my channel. How are you guys doing? I'm really tired. If I sound a little weird in today's video, it's because I kind of feel like I'm getting sick. Everyone be having the flu. Some people are still getting bovid. Like, it's really tough out here. But you know what? As long as no one's getting sick from mold. Speaking of mold, Lunchley and Mr. Beast. I'm never gonna let that die. It's a good joke, okay? If y'all haven't seen my last video, which is this one, where I talk about the whole Mr. Beast situation and how a fellow YouTuber, Rosanna Pansino, called the FBI on him, why low-key, she actually had a point doing it, and I agree with her. Like, bro's lore really went from having mold in his flop clearance version knockoff Lunchables to having a full-fledged FBI investigation into him because people be breaking bones and having seizures behind the scenes in his game shows. Like, I can't wait for this year to end. I really can't. But you know what, guys? Even though brain rot children who are addicted to Cocomelon are getting sick off of Lunchleys, I'm getting kind of sick of something else this week. What is that, you may ask? People and the internet. Specifically, whatever this is.
Fuck women anyways, dude.
And with all that stuff that you just said, that was just womanese talk.
Guys win again. And yes, we control your bodies. It's your body, my choice.
I'm not gagging. I mean, I'm gagging from like the smell.
Is it just me, or are people getting a lot more bold on the internet and in real life? More specifically with the whole alpha male manosphere, sigma, beta, Roy G. Biv, like, I don't know, ABC 123 type content, because it seems like every year it's getting worse and worse. Now, if you guys have been watching my content for a very long time, I have actually spoken about alpha males, Andrew Tate, and what is called the manosphere, and how it can be very damaging to young men out there who clearly lack father figures, so they look up to people like Fresh and Fit for moral guidance, which
I think a guy needs to be 35 years old, had sex with 50 girls, making 6 figures a year, and you'll be in a position where a good amount of women will respect you.
I know a lot of things, but I don't know about that. I'm not sure why.
We're doomed. But a lot of that type of content people were able to make fun of, you know. It was very like kind of funny, cringy, you know, because like, why wouldn't you make fun of this? But I feel like as we enter just an age of extremism in all sorts of ways, I've talked about how we're becoming extreme in our overconsumption, buying stuff that we don't need. We're also overconsuming food, also being extreme in just our movements and our presence online. And this has really fed this corner of the internet even more. Instead of preaching about buying cars and stuff, it's just straight up like really messed up things to say in general. general as a human being. Some of these men in this corner of this internet will also comment like laughing emojis and pointing emojis at women who are sharing their stories or are just going on the internet to vent. And I just think that's like crazy. That's crazy. And people are taking notice of this becoming bigger and bigger.
They are being radicalized online. They are being radicalized by their friends, everything around them in this entire system through gaming, YouTube, everything, to hate women, to see them as property, to devalue anything that they think or do. Their feeds are filled with rhetoric to hate women. You have to talk to your sons.
But does anyone else feel like teenage boys turn into a bunch of fucking supervillain as soon as they enter high school, man? Quite literally like looking at a bunch of future rapists, predators, and domestic abusers, man.
So many of these boys and men's girlfriends have even come online to talk about their experience of kind of also losing their partner to this crazy side of the internet and how they're completely different because of it. But the fact that moms are coming onto TikTok to talk about how their son is changing and everything, it just breaks my little heart. It really does. And as much as people want to say that these young men are idiots, that they're horrible, that they deserve to go to hell and rot and burn for eternity, I do have a soft spot for them. Hear me out. Yes, I am a human that believes the majority of people who say things that aren't very nice still deserve sympathy, because many times, 9 times out of 10, that is not their original thought. They're repeating something from somewhere that someone said, and the reason why they're repeating it is because someone who is buff, rich, and successful is telling them to repeat these things in order to also become rich, buff, powerful, and successful. These grown men are trying to convince these really young, impressionable, and insecure lost boys that they too can achieve the dream of a 13-year-old boy, which is a bunch of cars, women, and being the alpha leader in the pack. But unfortunately, the narratives and messaging that comes with this type of lifestyle that a lot of young men run into does not have their best interest in mind. If this type of content, messaging, narratives, lifestyles made everything better and were truly helping young men, then we would be seeing a growth in the betterment of education, friendships, connections, successes, and relationships, and mental health for these young men. But instead, we are actively seeing that all of that, every aspect of their lives, is actually not only declining, but declining fast. This content actively teaches young boys to be paranoid, angry, blame women for some reason for all of their problems. And this content is not slowing down, dying out, or anything. If anything, it's getting more extreme, far more widespread, and the target demographic of this type of content is getting younger and younger. The internet is raising your boys. This is just the outcome of that. And it sucks because I know so many of these men and young men and boys, because at this point the target demographic or brainwashing is becoming younger and younger every year, which is why we're seeing a rise of this extreme behavior grow behind the golden Lamborghinis, behind the alpha male podcasts, behind the blind rage and extremity. Truly, it is just people trying to find connection, community, purpose, and meaning. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with looking for those things, but unfortunately they're looking towards people like this to fill that void for them.
Here's another huge female privilege that no one talks about. You see, men don't need a good cry. They need a good angry blow up. We express ours by yelling at the world for a minute or two. Last I checked, both anger and sadness are very normal human emotions.
Okay. Whatever that means.
Which explains a lot. And this is a problem that has been building up over the years, and there needs to be more awareness towards it because this isn't normal. And I'm here to talk about it with you. I've made a handful of videos about similar topics. I already know the drill. I already know what's gonna happen. If you're here just to like send me hate, tell me that I'm fat, ugly, and I'll die alone, first of all, you're a mom. Second of all, I am not single. If you can't get past feeling personally attacked, then that's really not my problem and I can't help you. But I really want this video to be one that's open, understanding, a more nuanced conversation, because I actually go way deeper into different aspects of these topics to kind of figure out why this content became so popular in the first place, why it's continuing to get even bigger, how women are reacting to this type of content, such as the 4B movement, but also how in general, this entire movement and corner corner of the internet truly is just a microcosm of what's happening in the real world right now. It's a mix of parents being absent, the internet taking over, people in general lacking community and good role models, people turning to social media for guidance rather than themselves, and how warped everything is becoming because of that, and how all of this is separating men and women even further, father and sons, mother and sons, girlfriends and boyfriends, and so much more. Just so much more separation, when that shouldn't be the ultimate goal. So when I say this goes a lot deeper than just golden Bugattis and Instagram hoes, I mean it. So get into bed with me, get your medieval lantern water bottles, grab your favorite snack, and let's chat. But before we do all that, here's a quick word from our two sponsors. Yes, your girl's getting money. ZocDoc and Shopify. Do you dream? Because I dream all the time. Do you dream of building a successful business? Because I know exactly a platform that can help you with that. Shopify is the backbone that can make that dream happen. Instead of dealing with scattered tools and chaotic logistics, Shopify brings it all together into one organized, neat place. With Shopify, businesses big and small can sell like pros, okay? It's home to the #1 checkout on the planet, and with Shop Pay, conversations rates can jump up to 50%, okay? Meaning more sales and less carts being abandoned and more customers hitting that buy button. All those big brands that are finding really huge success right now is because they got Shopify behind the scenes. Skims, Alo, they're doing it right, and Shopify is a huge part of that success. So if you're ready to turn your dream into a reality, or if you're simply curious to see why successful sellers trust Shopify, go sign up for a $1 a month trial period at shopify.com/Salem Tovar. That's shopify.com/Salem Tovar. Shopify/Salem Tovar. I love taking risks. You never know what type of shenanigans you can get into, but you know what shouldn't cause shenanigans? Finding a doctor, yes. And thankfully, with ZocDoc, it doesn't have to be a circus. ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high quality in-network doctors, find the right one for your needs, and book an appointment instantly. They've got over 100,000 healthcare providers covering every specialty, literally from mental health, skincare, eyeballs, dental stuff, all types of things. And the best part is that you can filter doctors who take your insurance, who are located nearby, and who are highly rated by real patients. And you can even book a visit with them within 24 to 72 hours, or even sometimes the same day. I love taking risks, but one thing I'm not gonna risk is my health, and neither should you. So stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/Salem to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/Salem. Discussion topic number 1, Boyhood Interrupted, the rise of alpha content among young viewers, and how radicalization is robbing them of their childhoods, adolescence, and teenagehoods. But who cares, because they should be grinding. They should be wanting to get a car and become a millionaire as soon as possible. They gotta be alpha. They gotta be a real man. And the only way to become a real man is to watch Manosphere content. There is something that is changing. I feel it in the wind. I feel it in the trees. You can taste the change in the water. No, it's not the water that's turning the frogs gay, even though that's what people believe.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
You see, that change is that little boys aren't little boys anymore. Little boys used to like Minecraft parties, used to watch Ryan's toy reviews, but even Ryan Toys reviews has a mustache. That's because boys are turning into young men who use the internet. And the internet can be a place filled with community, new discoveries, Roblox, which is my personal favorite. But amidst the wild of the internet, there is content lurking about, waiting to snag your innocent little boy or young man or just grown-ass man. And these type of content creators aren't trying to sell you Robux, okay? Oh, no. This side of the internet is trying to sell men something even better. I'm talking cars, hoes, money, more hoes, how to be alpha.
3 things alpha males never say to women. Number 1, when can I see you?
I'm telling you, as a human being, it is weird, and you look weird, okay? I'm just gonna leave that there.
And at a glance, this content might just look a little harmless. It's just a couple of guys doing guy stuff, you know? Nothing wrong with wanting cars and, you know, wanting to find a relationship, right? But when you dig a little deeper, you come to find that it's actually...
You do not have to accept her rejection.
You guys don't understand how much a woman can fuck your life up when you don't know what the hell is going on.
So there's a saying, give her the gift of missing you. Give her the gift of fighting for your attention.
Thing is, a man is capable of having sex with other women while still loving his girl the same.
Here's another huge female privilege that no one talks about.
Guys win again. And yes, we control your bodies.
The whole Me Too movement is innuendo. The whole Me Too movement is trying to destroy a man's character.
Do you think that the majority of people that's joining the Me Too movement are lying?
Generally.
Oh my God.
I'm telling you, as a human being,
it is weird.
The messaging behind the lifestyle caters to a very specific type of male. Young, old, just type of male. Because not every male consumes this type of content, but the male who does, who accidentally stumbles across it and finds that they really like it, or purposely finds this type of content and likes it, kind of get trapped into this never endless loop of these rich millionaire men telling these males that they're not good enough unless they have millions of dollars, look like a Chad, and get to bang at least 10 Instagram hoes a night. But even if your goal is to get more women and money, women are actually a reason why you can't get money, and women are the reason why you also can't get women, and basically women are the enemy and they're the reason why you are oppressed in society. Your masculinity is under attack and you need to reclaim it by doing stuff like this.
First, I don't lean over it. The proper way to do it, get up, shift the whole body with your head, continue the movement.
This is the alpha mindset, and you just wouldn't understand. This is the only way you will ever find purpose, feel fulfilled, and be a true man. This type of content is part of something larger, which is why it keeps invading in your son's life, in your boyfriend's life, maybe your dad. It's affecting the majority of males nowadays. Again, not all of you, because I know y'all like to be different. We get it, we get it. You're one of the good ones. Here's a cookie. This content is a whole universe in itself, which is why it's called the Manosphere.
Oh Lord. Again. Again. Nothing new, nothing changed, same old shit. Same old.
Originally, it consisted of spaces for men to discuss their lives, their hobbies, their problems, and just male challenges that they felt like society didn't understand. Issues such as divorce, custody issues, dating, and perceived disadvantages in the social systems that impact men. There are some areas where men are disadvantaged, such as not having good support systems, having on average worse mental health, feeling lonely, having trouble dating, and so much more. So I understand the search for answers and help. Everyone should always put in the effort to improve themselves and do the best what they can with the disadvantages and the bad cards that they're handed in life, you know. However, as the internet started to get bigger, so did this movement. Pretty soon, this corner of the internet started to give birth to pickup artists, manosphere-based influencers. More content was being pumped out as a response to the progressivism of movements such as feminism and the Me Too movement. And as the culture started shifting, this type of content started to stray away from men-centered issues to becoming a commercialized mess that was an echo chamber of how feminism was killing masculinity and how in general masculinity was and is under attack. Pretty soon, groups like Men Go Their Own Way emerged, which rejected traditional relationships with women and started to argue that modern society unfairly favored women in marriage and divorce. Which I'm like, just be a better partner, then you wouldn't have to get divorced. Whatever. The content became more widespread as algorithms rewarded this high engaging content. And the reason why the algorithm kind of spread its seed everywhere, pause, point is, we saw a huge boom of this during the panini and in recent years because the algorithm eats this type of content up because it's considered very provocative, controversial, and problematic. The more people got mad at it, the more people would interact with it, thus pushing it further into the algorithm and thus becoming more accessible to accidentally be in the feeds of other young men who do not have mentors, young men who are insecure, young men who have no idea what they want to do in their life in the future, young men who are struggling with dating, young men who don't know anything about life other than cars and video games. And this type of content finds them at their lowest and takes advantage of that, luring in these young men and telling them, we have all the answers for you. Teaching them women in society are the cause of all the problems that they've been facing in life, which is why now we are seeing a rise in young men being a lot more extremist and more comfortable in saying things online and outside in the real world that are just insanely crazy and just downright evil. This literally causes stagnation to a young man's life, even if this content preaches the opposite, that if you listen to these influencers and random people on social media on how to be a true man, you'll grow as a person and blah blah blah, right? However, this content is directly teaching young men how to be delusional, unempathetic, angry, paranoid, and it stunts them and stops them from trying new things and interacting with people outside of the internet because they're so paranoid. And this type of content tells young men that the more that they seclude themselves, the more that they ignore the entire world other than themselves, that the more that they'll become an alpha, when in reality, it's literally making their mental health and loneliness worse. But God forbid you bring any of this up to them because you'll be labeled as a hater and they about to react like this.
Am I canceled now? You're lucky you're even talking to me, because I'm a high-value male. Yeah, I am. Okay, females don't deserve rights, it's my opinion. Does anyone in here watch Andrew Tate? No? Okay, then I'll just leave since everyone wants me to freaking die. This is why men's mental health is...
And by the way, when I say that this demographic gets younger and younger for this type of content, I really mean it, because why they got literal fetuses joining the hustler mindset.
Hello, my name is Sheikah. 360. You want it fast or slow? Slow.
I can't believe that there are people that would do something like this. It's so sick and twisted.
What happened to teenage boys? It's crazy that there is such a deep talk about how teenage girls have completely lost their childhood and pre-teenhood to the internet. But no one's talking about that also negatively affecting preteen boys and how they are also losing it to content like this. In their young brain is cars and women and money are cool. So to see these influencers, TikTokers, and alpha male podcasters have all of this stuff that's considered cool, they're gonna listen to them because they have all the things they've ever wanted. And whatever they say how to get said thing, they're gonna do the same thing. However, the message that they are sending these young men in how to achieve these things is not the best message. It's often messages that encourage being very unempathetic towards humans, specifically women, being very unnecessarily aggressive, and just encouraging young men to be more extreme. Now I'm gonna say something. Surprisingly, I actually think it's really cool and good that a lot of this content actually does emphasize that young men should have confidence, have hobbies, teach them to speak up for themselves, and they try to teach them that they matter. However, the way they go about it is in all the wrong ways. How does owning a car that's nice make you automatically a good person? How are role models like this?
I'm gonna be honest with you. You're not a 10. You're not a 10.
That doesn't hurt me.
Are you down to revise your answer? We got makeup remover.
And I'm not using those makeup wipes either.
Teaching young men to be confident and self-assured. It's not. This content is just teaching men how to push it all the way down and match the aesthetic and play the role of a quote-unquote true male, or the social media influencer hyper-consumeristic version of what a male is supposed to be. Not only that, but this type of content also teaches young men who have not even gotten into any sort of serious relationship to have predetermined resentments against human beings and women, that all humans are out to get you, that all women are going to eventually hurt you, and that everyone except yourself is your enemy. And that is such an extreme way to navigate life no matter who you are. No, you're actually not the main character. There are over 8.2 billion people on Earth, and that's for a reason. That's because we have to connect with people, be with people, and deal with people. You have to learn how to do that in a balanced way. It literally cuts off your opportunities to be open-minded, to have open-minded conversations, try new things, connect with people you disagree with, which is also a big part of growth and life. At this point, it's exploitation, but a lot of them don't view it as exploitation because how is getting rich and a lot of women exploitation? It's the fact that this type of content and this type of influencers and stuff and these types of movements constantly create a them versus us kind of narrative, which continues to feed into the very weird entitlement and ways of thinking that we're seeing now on the internet and in real life, where they're almost detached from reality, because this type of lifestyle is completely detached from reality. I'm gonna say something crazy, don't cancel me. It's actually not normal to live like that. There are men out there who make less, with less cars, with one wife and like a kid in a small house, who is so rich in happiness that these types of men will never even come close to it, no matter how many golden Bugattis they buy. But why listen to that humble guy? They don't have 12 Bugattis. That guy's a freaking Sigma, okay? Because you see, in the Manosphere, it isn't just men versus women. It's also men versus men. There are levels to manliness, okay? And if you're on the bottom, then apparently to them, you might as well be chopped liver, or the opposite, you should eat liver and be like liver king. What is this? I think the craziest part of all of this is literally everyone to them is an enemy. Everyone's out to get them. Manhood is under attack. Their money's under attack. Sorry, their non-existent money is under attack, and their non-existent relationships with women are also under attack. It has caused so much of an extreme that young men in this corner of the internet will make up scenarios in their minds that are literally not prevalent to them whatsoever and use that as a basis to argue against women. They'll be like, what about my money? She just wants me for my money. And then you ask them where they work at and they're like, Applebee's. So men don't have a disadvantage in the world. Explain to me why it's legal for my wife to take all my belongings after a divorce. And then someone will be like, well, are you even married? And they'll be like, no. Then this is why women don't want to date you guys anymore. And that's not me trying to make a joke or be dramatic or anything. Literally, scientifically speaking, statistically speaking, not only are people lonelier than ever, but Gen Z and younger men and women are refusing to date each other. But it is for a reason. But why is this happening? Well, I'm glad you... Discussion topic number 2. From radicalized to rejected. How the radicalization of young men online is feeding the great dating war. There is one common enemy of the type of men who indulge in this type of conversation and this type of paranoia that everything in their life is being under attack, even though, again, no. But unfortunately, this type of thinking has become so common in a lot of young men, especially in Gen Z, that it's a literal fact, like an actual oh, hey Google, set a timer for 15 minutes. Gen Z is the most politically divided generation when it comes to sexes. So young men are becoming a lot more right-leaning, more conservative, and consuming more of this type of content. Whereas young Gen Z women are actually a lot more left-leaning and actually more feminist, which is actually extremely interesting and also explains a lot. It especially explains why there's so much tension in our generation, why we see so many men our age who consume this type of content and think the way that they think. But it also perfectly explains why dating is so now. Well, for you guys, not for me. Thankfully, I got married a long time ago, so shout out to my husband for saving me from being in the dating pool right now, because if it wasn't for him, y'all, I would just be a crazy cat lady for real. And I know I'm not the only woman who shares that sentiment. And it's not because men these days aren't attractive or self-motivated or anything like that. But it's because of this division, this really crazy division where people can't even get along on the bare minimum anymore. Everything is a lot more extreme because of young men becoming more radicalized and even people's mothers noticing that change within young men coming out to share their stories. I've actually seen a really huge shift on social media of women of all ages coming out and saying how they miss who their boyfriends and husbands used to be before Manosphere content. How they used to be sweet, but then all of a sudden started to become a lot more extremist and a lot more rude and would say stuff that was kind of sus, you know? And honestly, that's always really sad to see. No matter if you're a man or a woman, women, it never feels good to see someone that you've known for a really long time just make a shift basically overnight and see them be so easily swayed to change just because of something they saw on the internet. Like women sharing their stories about how Andrew Tate ruined my marriage. And of course, a lot of men who are, you know, radicalized in this movement look at that and be like, you know what, brother? That's a win for us. That's a win for us, brother. You said no to that slut. That's what you gotta do, brother. Now you gotta focus on getting you a gold Bugatti. That's how you're truly gonna win, brother. Like I don't get it. Do y'all want to be in a relationship or not? Because one of the fears a lot of this content target in men is that they're gonna die alone, that dating is horrible. But then when they do get a girlfriend, this type of content still tells these young men that it's not good enough and that you need to be more alpha, even though they already have a relationship. So it's like, at this point, do y'all like women? Yes or no? Yes or no? Because at this point, y'all might as well date each other, because
I would assume that you were gay.
Female vaginas are disgusting.
Female vaginas are disgusting. Female vaginas are disgusting.
Homosexual?
Some point.
Huh? Are you homosexual?
Girls do you know actually have hobbies?
This might be the most sexist thing I'll ever say, but do girls have hobbies?
Huh?
That was the most chronically online thing I've ever heard. Some of these dudes really think that when we females go home, we power down and just sit in the dark like a robot. And then when it's the next day, we wake up and we're like, oh, time to cheat on Instagram and get a BBL.
Huh?
But in the manosphere world, in this corner of the internet, this is rational thinking. This is logical mastermind type of thinking to them. But this just goes to show how ignorant they really are of females in general and how extreme they perceive them through a very chronically online lens. Or some men will say all women have OFs. It'll just be a woman like just sharing her opinion or giving a thought piece, and then someone will comment, OF detected, opinion rejected.
Electric chair.
And this is because they live in a world that is full of extremes. They can't look at a woman without thinking that they're boring, bland, and that their only purpose is to either create an OF or be theirs. Like, that's super detached from reality. Not every woman is an Instagram baddie LA stereotype. And even if they are, who cares? If you don't like those type of women, then just don't date them and find some other person. The same way men hate when women say, all men are the same. They are literally giving the same exact energy by assuming all women are the same, which to them are boring hoes who only know 3 things: charge their phone, eat hot chip, and lie. This is what the internet does to your brain, by the way, when you spend too much time on it. It's time to touch some grass, okay? First of all, I have met plenty of women who have hobbies. Personally, I like shooting. I love playing video games. If you have been around for a long time on my channel, y'all know that I love D&D, Renaissance fairs, and anything nerdy. There is a lot of stuff that I like to do, but that's just because I'm a person who likes to try all types of new things. But I fear my hobbies don't even count as hobbies because they're not alpha enough. But that's the thing about hobbies. They're different for everyone. Everyone's into different things. But it seems like in these chronically online lens, the only hobbies that are valid is eat steak, car, and be misogynistic. Obviously, that's not what every man is into. So why is it that when women have hobbies, it's considered boring, not good enough, or they dismiss that entirely and label us as stereotypes? If we go into the dating game with a predetermined belief about someone that, well, they're just not going to be into this because this is what that person is, or this person just doesn't have hobbies, so I'm just not going to suggest for us to try something new. You can't build anything off of that. Or people go too into it thinking we need to have the same hobbies or else it won't work, when that doesn't work either. Remember, y'all, we gotta have balance in all of these things. But the fact that a lot of people in this realm of content believe women are either like these mystical creatures that are hard to figure out or just sex objects is very scary. And this is exactly why a lot of young Gen Z women don't want to date right now, because they feel unsafe. They're not sure when their good partner who came equipped with green flags will eventually turn red because they accidentally consume this type of content and get radicalized. It's all very unsteady, and everyone wants steadiness in a relationship. Obviously, it's okay to change. People are meant to grow, but it sucks when you see people grow for the worse, especially when they start consuming content that literally tells them that they should hate their partner. Well, if they're getting comfortable with saying stuff like this, your body, my choice, that is a direct confirmation that you view women as nothing but just a clump that you are allowed to do with what you will. And that's just not right. We don't view any human that way because that's wrong and that's not nice and that's not fun. That's not very fresh, you know. That is literally dehumanizing to anyone. Or that when women talk to you that they speak womanese. So when women give you advice on how to actually land a woman, y'all ignore it? Make it make sense? This is the problem with a lot of this type of content, is that they teach young men that they need to be tall and rich, and that's, you know, the basic check marks of being a good person. Like, no, that's actually not how it works. And because of this radicalization within young men and Gen Z, young women are also fighting this extreme with their version of extremity, which is right now the 4B movement. The 4B movement is a movement that actually originated in South Korea, which is a feminist movement that challenges traditional gender expectations and norms, particularly those related to marriage, relationships, and traditional family roles. The term 4B translates to the four no's in Korean for ban. First rule of 4B movement: no dating. Reject all romantic relationships with men to avoid patriarchal expectations and obligations. No to marriage. Choosing not to marry, rejecting societal pressures to fulfill roles as wives or mothers. No 3. No childbirth. Deciding not to have children, partly as a reaction against the economic and social burdens placed on women in South Korea, and now some translating to the US. And finally, 4. No sexual relationships of any kind with men, as an assertion of independence and self-autonomy. The whole point of this movement is to basically have women choose alternative lifestyles rather than traditional roles, especially in a society that has grown more misogynistic and dangerous for women to get into relationships or to put themselves in vulnerable positions as child rearing. And I understand why this movement is not only coming back, but coming back specifically into the US, because of just the climate that we're in right now is very uncertain with a lot of things, but it is very important to help one another out. And I think in the mix of this just gender war and just the manosphere and the multiverse or whatever the hell, we lost the true message, which is at the end of the day, we're all human and we all need to help one another out. The majority of women are afraid to give up their autonomy in marriage or to become a mother in such an uncertain society, in such an uncertain economy. And now this new development in our culture of developing uncertain relationships, there's too much risk involved. And it doesn't help when extremist men double down on that very rational fear women have nowadays and make fun of it by chanting "your body, my choice," saying things like, "Oh, I bet she's gonna choose the bear." Or when women are talking about the 4B movement, some men have been commenting on these posts about how, well, even if you refuse to have sex with us, we'll just take it by force. And it's starting to go from them trying to be edgy to just downright like threats, which is really ironic because this fear of content is always talking about how women need to be protected, that they need a protector, that we need men to help us. Yet many extremists on this side are anticipating to see women be brutalized, not only online but also in real life, and confusing manhood for being arrogant, loud, and violent, when that is not a true man at all. But again, when women tell a lot of these men what women are actually looking for in a long-term partner or in a relationship, what they consider attractive, what they think manhood should be, then they're just completely shut down and are told that they're speaking womanese. So even the nuanced conversation between man and woman has been completely shut down. It's like both sides are just not open to hearing each other out at all anymore. Both kind of being shoved into this new age of really intense tension and uncertainty, even being around each other. So why would we date? This is why the dating scene for young people is dying. And the large factors as to why this is happening is due to just the world around us being extra uncertain. And uncertainty makes people panic. But also our world becoming more sadistic and taking joy in hurting others, belittling others, and quote unquote humbling others in order to feel good about oneself, which has been causing this overall energy of unsafety. So what do humans naturally do during times of uncertainty? They go towards things that give them certainty, or at least the illusion of certainty, whether that's the illusion of some sort of structure by revisiting old values, because that's what made sense back then. So therefore we should revisit that again because that was the answer. Or let's just grasp at any straw and come up with new answers. We need to figure this out. We need new rules, more strict rules, because everything's so chaotic and uncertain. And this is why we're seeing so much paranoia nowadays. Every single person who's living through this modern day culture of the manosphere, of dating, of being an adult, we're all going through this together. And we're all so incredibly lost as to what to do, where to start, where are the answers, where's the structure? Our culture is shifting, and it's shifting fast in a way that we've never seen before. This is all not necessarily new, but it's definitely heightened. But we're not gonna find those answers the more that we fight and hurt and belittle one another.
High testosterone woman here, bro. Holy f***, almost got assaulted, fam. That was very scary. Let me make one.
I will say that at the end of the day, these aren't men who are looking for gold Bugattis, Instagram hoes, and everything. Sure, maybe they're making it seem like that's what they're looking for, but truly what they're looking for inside is purpose, direction, and fulfillment. But how can you find that in such a chaotic world? We as humans kind of naturally crave structure, especially in chaotic environments, because we don't know what to do in chaotic environments. We need guidelines, we need instructions. And because of our current climate in the world of just people kind of going crazy, I see everyone from all different types of walks of life, man, woman, everything in between, craving some sort of direction, some sort of structure. And many times when this happens in history, people always fall back to the structure that we've known, which is traditional structure. Traditional structures being the nuclear family, wife and husband, the white picket fence with a big house, being successful. The American dream, essentially. But since we are in extreme chaotic times, people will respond to that to craving extreme structure, which means not just having a wife who is your partner, but a wife who is under you and submits even to the detriment of her freedom and bodily autonomy. We're no longer craving having 1 or 2 kids. We're craving having multiple children with multiple women. It's no longer about having a house. It's about having a mansion with a bunch of cars to make up for the fact that everything feels so meaningless. So they try to fill it with anything that could possibly give them meaning. The main group that is struggling the most with this is young men in America. And this chaos is attacking them most mentally. And this extreme content is telling them that these extreme opinions and beliefs are the cure to finding structure once again. And these influencers who don't have the best intention in their hearts and minds for these young men absolutely know it and absolutely take advantage of it. And they know the power that they have over these young men to manipulate them. And this is the number one trap that the majority of these young men are falling into nowadays. And it's so disheartening how fast and how easy they are manipulated with the false promises of wealth, happiness, and purpose. We have gotten so desensitized to actually living life and seeking out actual purpose that we're relying on our phones and influencers like this to tell us what our purpose is and how to get it, which I think is really strange. And I think there's 2 things to blame for this happening. The first thing is what I just said. We're craving purpose, structure, and fulfillment. But let me tell you, you're not gonna get it from TikTok. You're not gonna get it from guys, from people who are just trying to sell you courses online to get you to pay their bills. Not everything that sounds like honey to the ears is honey. Sometimes you gotta taste it and realize, was actually chant, you know? The second, parents are gone. Good role models are gone. Good teachers are gone. There are just no good role models anymore. Where are the parents? Where are the fathers? Where are the mothers who are in charge of these men? And by the way, I just want to say something. Just because your child gets married and has children doesn't mean that they stop being your child. I know a lot of parents think that their parenting stops when kids get out out of their homes, but no. Some of y'all's children stay stagnant until they're like 40 years old because you stopped parenting them. And it's very obvious. It's even more obvious when a lot of these kids grow up with no role models, so they turn to random people on the internet that they do not know. And that's why you get the outcome that we see nowadays. Now, I do believe in community. I think it's very important as human beings. I do believe that getting community from the internet is valid. You can follow people and still look up to them. Again, this is just my opinion. Thank you. Y'all don't have to agree, but it's my opinion. But I do think it says a lot about our world that people are now turning to the internet to find someone, anyone, to tell them this is how you're supposed to live your life. This is what you need to do in order to be happy. This is what you should eat. This is how you should think. Like, it's really strange. And for a movement that constantly teaches, like, don't go with the movement, be against the waves. Everyone's always brainwashing you. Yeah, there sure is a lot of brainwashing going on that discourages these males from becoming true individuals and being people who can actually contribute to society and find fulfillment within their own definition of what that success and fulfillment looks like. And that's gonna look very different from person to person. One man can crave the Bugatti LA lifestyle, that's fine. If that's what fulfills him, whatever. But just because another man wants to live in a humble home with a nice marriage and maybe, I don't know, be childless, that doesn't make him any less of a man, and it doesn't make his happiness or fulfillment any less valid. And who knows, maybe he's even happier than you. And when they are happier with the little that they have compared to these alpha males get super triggered. I'm going to show you guys an example of what I just said, because this clip perfectly encapsulates two types of men. The first man being the manosphere social media hustler type of guy, and the second is a real man who's actually touched grass.
How do you define success?
My definition of success is across the board. If you're not ripped, if you're not rich, if you ain't rare, if you don't stand out, if you ain't across the board successful, it doesn't mean shit to me. You better have a bad bitch, you better be ripped, you better fucking be rolling some sick shit. That's what I like.
Alright, so y'all just heard the Manosphere Alpha describe to you what success is, which truly just sounds like video game fantasy little boys version of success. Now, let's listen to someone who actually lives in reality's version of success.
My definition of success is having a family. True wealth is a rejection of materialism. As Christ said himself, what good does it benefit a man to gain the entire world at the cost of his soul? And it's to achieve something greater.
Does he have money?
No.
Do you have money?
No.
Bruh, the alpha manosphere bro couldn't even let the other guy finish his sentence because for some reason this guy denouncing materialistic possessions equates to happiness triggered the hell out of this bald ass.
No, I'm not one of these rich guys. I don't have a Bugatti. I don't have a Lambo. I
just really have to know, like, how much money you got?
If you look at these studies done on this, it does not.
I don't fit no fucking studies.
It does not hugely improve a person's life.
Are you proud of who the
bro,
you are?
Why
well, look at, are you proud? If you look in the mirror, would you guys say this motherfucker's proud of who the he is? That's a bag of trash, dude.
Lock that bitch up. Lock it up.
Get your ass beat in front of
everybody. You think that's better?
Guys.
You think that that's better?
Let's let him give his definition of success.
The successful mantra of a man who tells you he was reformed from prison, understand why they might have gone there to begin with.
Bruh, it's funny because he actually did go to prison.
Damn it!
You're still whining. Stop whining and just make an argument.
Dude, I'll smack your fat ass.
So you're gonna attack?
You're gonna attack me? All right. Men don't have. We can agree on that. Physically,
men usually have hair. We can agree on that too.
Would any of you guys really hang out with these guys?
This is not an argument.
Like, Jesus Christ.
There's some. Go ahead, man. Sorry.
The whole crowd says, yeah, we'd hang out with them.
Different guys on the panel.
This is why most people don't invite me places.
Different guys on the panel.
This is why most people don't invite me places.
This is why most people don't invite me places.
What did we learn? What did we learn? Can anyone in the class answer? Now, the reason why I repeated that last part for y'all is because when you act like how these alpha male manosphere content influencers tell you to act like, that's what happens. no one likes you, no one's trying to hang out with you. The whole crowd literally was like, yeah, we're gonna hang out with the other guy, but not you. Like, bruh, chill. What happened to being nonchalant? Like, bro really lacks emotional intelligence, and that's really cringe. This content single-handedly teaches young men how to be the most insufferable, egotistical people ever. And then when people look past all the money and the buffness and everything, they're like, wow, this person's actually really unlikable and I don't like being around them. They end up being even more lonely, therefore affecting your mental health even more. This is the result of consuming that content. This guy.
This is why most people don't invite me places.
And let me tell you something. If you think the real definition of a man is a man who walks into the room and everyone is tense and quiet and awkwardly looks around and is like, ugh, we feel uncomfortable whenever that guy walks in, that's not called being alpha or having power moves or whatever. That just means you're an asshole and people don't like you. Now compare that to a room being silent because they admire you, but also they feel confident enough around you because you radiate confidence so that they feel comfortable enough to joke with you, talk with you, connect with you. That is what a real man does. They add. They do not take. And they do not take by force, and they do not take violently or ignorantly. They are single-handedly setting you up for failure in every aspect that isn't financial, which are all the areas that young men need help in right now. And this is what happens when you are stuck in an echo chamber. You get so in your head and you only have one way of thinking that when someone challenges that way of thinking, you immediately jump to aggressiveness, anger, and defensiveness. And every single problem that we have talked about today, where it's dating, the extremism, the lack of empathy that we're seeing a rise of in a lot of these young men's lives, can be traced back to this type of content and this way of thinking, which isolates people to the point where they don't go out and find actual real men with real men advice. They don't go out to meet people organically for dating, and their so-called support system and friend groups are the same people that they go to reaffirm their current beliefs and do not challenge them whatsoever. And let me tell you something. If you are currently meeting the same type of women that supposedly all have BBLs and love Instagram, and you're still meeting the same type of men who supposedly are bringing you down or whatever, and you just are a lone wolf because everyone's the same, everyone's materialistic, everyone is like not as deep as me. Let me tell you something. You are most likely the problem. If you are navigating this life and you keep attracting the same people over and over and over again, it's not a them problem, it's a you problem. There is something about you that you need to improve on or change. Your energy, the way you carry yourself, it keeps attracting the same people that constantly disappoint you, and you need to change that. And guess what? Becoming an asshole does not help that at all. Obviously, this means also not becoming like the nicest person that just becomes a doormat. No, there's a balance to these things. Jeez, why is this so hard to just tell people this? There is a way to set boundaries and defend yourself and your beliefs in a respectful way. And no, being honest and trying to humble people is not you being edgy. Again, it's being an asshole. It is a disgrace to the human experience for you to constantly shut out other people's opinions, shut out new experiences, for you to live in an echo chamber, for you to not go outside in the real world and meet new people and do things that make you uncomfortable, to not listen to others, to not reflect on yourself. It is a disgrace to the human experience for you to live it in such a shallow manner and to live it in a way where you're constantly focusing on nothing but yourself. We as humans are not meant to be competing against each other. We are meant to be complementary. As much as this corner of the internet wants to keep pushing the messages of men compete, ooga booga, we are cavemen, we must go back. Well, guess what? We have Taco Bell around the corner and we have Venmo. We're not in the prehistoric times for a reason. We evolve, we change, we grow as human beings. Our purpose and structure is going to look a lot different. And as we evolve and grow as human beings, so does that purpose and structure. Now, you probably noticed by now there is one subject I didn't really touch on that is a really big factor in this type of content, which is Christian nationalism and how a lot of this content always kind of uses the Bible or Christianity to be like, see, this is what God tells us to do, this is biblical, so you can't tell me that I can't be this way because men are above you and that's how it should be. For those of you guys who have been listening to me for a while, my parents were pastors, and faith to this day remains a very strong part of my life. I have been very open about how I am in a pretty traditional marriage. So, you know, I stay home, I cook, I clean, and I actually thoroughly enjoy it because my entire life has been complete chaos and it feels good to finally just rest in peace. My husband goes out, he works, and he pays the bills. But he also comes home and he helps me. Sometimes I make money off my hobbies and contribute. There is balance in everything. And when I first tell people this, they think that I'm oppressed and that I'm actually secretly miserable. But this is because unfortunately, our world has completely tainted biblical manhood to benefit their narratives and their toxic beliefs. One of the biggest verses that I see all the time that people use is, wives, you must submit to your husbands. And I've said this so many times before. You must look at the context of who the people are talking to in the Bible. Now, this Bible verse comes from the book of Ephesians, and the context around that is that it was written by the Apostle Paul to the church in Ephesus and the surrounding area around 62 AD. And the book was actually written while Paul was imprisoned in Rome. And this book that he was writing was for the people in Ephesus, not for us. If you want to take up what they say personally and apply it to your own life, that's up to you, but let's not misconstrue stuff. In Ephesians 5:25, after the verse of how women are to submit unto their husbands, which is the only verse that people tend to read when wanting to benefit their narrative, they stop there. But the next Bible verse, literally the next words, the continuation of that verse actually, is Paul calls husbands to love their wives as Christ loved the church and how he gave himself up for her. Meaning, this is a sacrificial type of love that requires softness and giving. It's not domineering behavior and it's not overpowering behavior. And a woman should only listen to her husband if the husband is fulfilling his role of being giving, soft, and sacrificial. But they don't want to read that part, huh? And in general, I don't ever recall in all my years studying the Bible and literally being a pastor's daughter where the Bible says to eat raw meat, listen to dubstep, and go to the gym, be racist, love your country, or kick women while they're down in order to be a good godly man. These people pick and choose whatever parts of warped Western Eurocentric Christianity is to them and then forget the rest. For example, if they truly cared about biblical manhood and being a godly man and going back to the times where Christ was part of our government in our schools and stuff, right? Which, by the way, was still corrupt because they still didn't actually study the doctrine. But anyways, if y'all actually cared about that, then you would follow in Jesus's footsteps. Biblical humanhood should be, but also biblical manhood, which is gentle and humble. Despite him being powerful, he lives to serve others, such as helping and healing those in need, and even washing his disciples' feet. But Jesus was also compassionate, commanding us to care for the orphans and the widows of the world. In the Bible, it literally says that all believers should be known by their fruit. And no, their fruit is not a golden Bugatti and a six-pack and yelling at their wives and being an alpha male. Actually, the fruits of the spirits in Galatians 5:22 through 23 literally says that it is love, kindness, gentleness, and self-control. How could you possibly take anything of this context and think that this...
Would any of you guys really hang out with these guys?
This is not an argument.
Like, Jesus Christ.
They're skilled to some things.
is actual manly biblical manhood and use it to tear women down, make fun of the fact that their rights are being stripped away from them, turn it into a race thing or a political thing. But nah, if Jesus were alive today, they'd be calling him a Sigma or a special snowflake. But that's because a lot of men in this corner of the internet and in real life who claim they're all for traditional values and biblicalhood and stuff, they actually don't want to be like Jesus. They want to be God. They want God's power. They want God's wrath and judgment. But if they actually read their Bibles, they'd know that no one can be him, and they're not. Like I said earlier in this video, chaos and uncertainty. This is what happens. But it's almost like people don't want to grow. They don't want to evolve, to be progressive. They want to stay in the chaotic and the uncertain. And it's devastating to see that people would much rather live in that chaos and uncertainty so that they can live out all their depravity and all their wildest, angriest fantasies, rather than just to come together and find a solution that works for everyone. We are facing, in modern day society, an endless loop of insanity. And if you keep trying to chase something that just isn't working, consuming the same things over and over again and getting the same results, it's time to break the chain, but truly break the chain. You know, actually break out of the matrix. Alright guys, that is it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you watched the entire thing, make sure to comment down a duck emoji down below so I know you guys watched the entire thing. And if you did, I love you and you're my best friend. Remember to like and subscribe and click the notification bell so that you're notified whenever I upload a new video. Join my neighborhood. Become a neighbor. Join my community because I'd love to have you. Comment down below what your opinions are. Be nice, or I swear to God, I will never come back on this platform ever again. I mean, who said that? Y'all know the drill. Like, you guys are allowed to disagree. I don't care. Just be cordial and respectful about it. If y'all call me like a fat hoe, like clearly I'm gonna block you, so y'all are not about to bully me on it. Remember to follow me on my Instagram so that you guys can see me rant on my stories and just see all the behind the scenes shenanigans. Or if you just want to get to know me more as a person, my Instagram handle is @_Salem Tovar _ or if you just type in Salem Tovar, you'll find me. My icon is me with a cowboy hat, so it'll be very easy to find me. And guys, within my highlight sections, if you click the YouTube one, you will see my past videos, but also the possibility to join an Instagram chat called The Neighborhood, where you get notified of just stuff that I'm doing that's more personal, behind the scenes stuff such as this, and so much more. So make sure that you join that. And also, y'all, if you want more of this content, go ahead and follow me on Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere to hear more on the Salem Tovar podcast. I love to see you. Listen to me while folding laundry. Listen to me while you chant. You know, I don't mind. But with that being said, every single video I give y'all homework, and the homework that I give you guys today is to just get off the damn internet. Like, after this video, just, you know, get off the internet. But like, if you are gonna stay on the internet, like, keep watching my videos only, you know, like. But other than that, thank you again for watching. I gotta go to bed because it is now 10:40. Yeah, I'm tired. I gotta go, and I'll see you in the next video.